Hey, is this thing on? Hey everybody, it's Shane, and I'm in the LevelUp 737. This is a preview, a work in progress of all the stuff we've been working on for the next update. So first of all, I'm offline and I'm sitting on the runway because I want to show you some stuff before we get started. Now, listen carefully. Can you hear that sound? Do you hear that clanking sound? Guys, that's windmilling. Our incredible sound engineer, WolfAir, I asked him today or yesterday, I said, hey man, it'd be really awesome if we could get some windmilling sounds in the sim because, I work on jet engines a lot. And, when there's wind just blowing through the engine when they're off, the fan blades, they clank around a lot and they make noise. And he was able to add it in there, and the sound increases and decreases based on the wind speed going through the engine. Right now I have simulated wind going through the engine about 25 knots just so you can hear it, but this is just immersion enhancing stuff right now. So this is one of the first things that you're going to be getting with the next update. Hey, thanks a lot. No, this is X-Plane 12, man. Thanks. So that is the windmilling sound outside. Thank you, WolfAir, for adding that for me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the power, and I want to do this on the runway before we're like on there with ATC, because obviously I can't be sitting on the runway here. But I want to show you some of the changes we've been making to the exterior lights, guys. Aaron and WolfAir have been working on this tirelessly. Actually, probably even more people than that, but they've been working on this tirelessly for a few days now because they really want this to be perfect. Let me show you some of the amazing light changes that they've made. All right, so first of all, here we go. These are the wing lights. Now, these are the halogen lights. Do you see how they're not as bright as they used to be? Do you see how they're not, like, causing a lot of bloom on the engines? Okay, here we go. So you got the logo lights, runway turn-off lights. Okay? Now, check this out. They used to illuminate the runway turn-off lights used to illuminate the windshield wipers, which would be physically impossible, right? Because they're in front of the nose. So they fixed that. So runway turn-off lights no longer do that. Okay. Now, check this out. Check out the taxi light, guys. This is huge. That taxi light is insane. So you see the narrow beam now? It's not this bright, wide thing. But also, before, the taxi light were so dim you couldn't even see them on the runway. Now they work. Now I want to show you something cool here. Watch this. Let me pressurize the hydraulics. Watch the beam. Isn't that cool? So taxi lights are improved, more narrow beam, but brighter, but less bloom outside. Now, also, check out the landing lights. Okay, very bright, but you see how the color has changed on these halogen lights? It's not so white. It's a little more yellow, but not super yellow. And look at the beam that they produce. Plenty of lighting, but not too much. Now, this is one of the biggest improvements with these lights, guys. On our previous model, you could never do this without frying your eyeballs. Look at this. Okay, this is a first for us where you can look straight on at this jet and not get your eyeballs fried. Before, these lights were so bright in your face that you would go blind. Now, they're targeted, hitting the ground, creating the illumination that you need without killing you. Look at, I could never do this before. Look how close I can get. Isn't that awesome? Guys, I can't tell you enough how much they've improved these lights. And then also, they've been working hard on the navigation lights as well. So that has also been improved here. These navigation lights have been improved. All kinds of light changes, guys. I mean, big stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all these off. Cool. All right. What else can I show you? Any other light stuff? Oh, yeah, actually, no, I take that back. Okay, so this is halogen lights, guys. Before we start, I want to show you the new LED lights, too. These are awesome. All right, so let's go over here to I think it's variants, exterior, LED lights. Look at the color, guys. Isn't that awesome? All right, so these are the LED lights now. Here's runway turn off. Okay, so, all right, wing lights, runway turn off, taxi, landing. Isn't that color awesome? I'm really impressed with these guys and what they've done. Like, these lights are so good now. So I like to run the halogen because the halogen lights, you can see the color difference there. The halogen lights allow you to steer the nose wheel a taxi light. So that's why we're going to run that. So anyway, we're done with that. Let's go ahead and get put back over by the terminal. And then we're also going to go, we're going to change location. We'll go over to Terminal 1 backside. All right. And then we're going to put back on real world weather because I turned it up so you guys can hear the windmilling engine. So let's go back to real world. And we will start new flight. And we'll go ahead and get ready to fly this jet. So we've showed you the lights. Next thing I want to go over are some of the sound changes. But first, let's do some basic cockpit preparation. Okay, let me see here. It's kind of dark in here. All right, let's get some generators on here. All right. Ground power is on. Cockpit lighting. I'll adjust that now. There's so many changes that we're working on right now, guys. I'll try to remember all of them as we're flying, but there's a lot. All right. Okay, lights. Oh, speaking of lights. Cool. All right, lights set to test. Okay. Overhead looks good. Back to dim. All right. Mach airspeed warning test. I'll be up here. Okay. Over to nav. Window heat, probe heat. Emergency light switch arm. Logo lights are on. Position lights are on. Wing lights, swivel lights. Jetway system test. We'll skip that. Fire test, cargo test. We'll go ahead and skip that too. Throttles checked. Okay. Rotor trim 0. Aileron trim 0. Okay. EFIS panel. Oh, Aaron wanted me to mention to you guys that he's made some additional improvements to the MCP. We fixed all the weird digits on here, some of the shadowing, and we've improved the color of the backlighting on the switches for the Collins MCP. So those are all improvements that are coming as well, right up here. And we'll put this on plan. Okay, weight balance airside service. So let's go ahead and grab our flight plan. Oh, I think we're missing it. Let me go grab it. Hold on. Okay. There we go. 137 passengers, 13.7 fuel. Let's activate it. Okay. Seatbelt signs, chime only. Let's get the IRS position loaded up. Okay, and right now, before I forget, let's go ahead and get logged into VATSIM. Start getting my hours, right? Okay, X-Pilot coming online. 8264. 8264, I believe, is our call sign. Let me confirm that. 8264. Okay, we're on VetSim, and let's go ahead and program the FMC. So I'll grab the route. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So our departure is going to be runway 27 on the Padres 2 with the shaft of transition. And then going into Reno, we have the Tarver 2. Let me grab that transition. It is the Scherf transition. And then we're going to be looking for the ILS 35 left with the Spoon transition. Alright, let's take a look at our flight plan here. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and activate that. Okay, and let's go over to Perfinit and request and load. Okay, reserves for this flight. Final reserve plus alternate is going to be 5,000 pounds.
Tower FedEx, correction, UPS 701 Heavy, you're on the approach for 27.
UPS 70.
Okay. N1 limit. I'm going to grab that information from SimBrief. It's coming up now. Okay, takeoff performance disabled here, and we're going to use flaps 5 tonight. Calculate. Okay, TO 50, flaps 5, 129, 130, 136. Looks good. So TO 50 gives takeoff thrust setting of 89 because we're going to have packs on, so we're going to lose a little bit of bleed from that. Now takeoff. Okay, so this is another big change to this is another big change to our flight model and everything is this thing right here. So this is the takeoff, this is the EFB, and I'm going to go into more detail as to why this is so important later on. But basically, long story short, this is a Zibo mod thing, but the Zibo mod variant that we had, the way it was loading the aircraft was not correct. It was spitting out CGs that were completely different from what the aircraft actually had. So our coding genius Thomas has been working on a fix for this. Now it's not done yet. This is a work in progress. That's why you see some of this stuff. But basically, he's put some code in here without messing with the Zibo code or messing with any copyright stuff, so that this thing will now feed into the aircraft's real CG. So whatever you see here for takeoff CG is actually what it is. So right now, you're seeing some discrepancies here because the way I put the load stations on the aircraft right now, they're too far aft. So the aircraft tends to load very tail heavy. So I'm going to work with Thomas to fix that. That's just a little correction I need to make. But we can manually adjust our weight and balance tonight, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to basically shift the weight forward here because we're very aft heavy. So I'm going to basically take this down to 2,000 pounds, put this at 4,200. I think our CG is still a bit aft. Let me see if I can get it to come in. Nope. All right. Let's try this. Okay. Well, this is why it's work in progress, guys, right? So obviously there's something that I must have broke something with the jet tonight, but that's not a problem. We'll get it fixed. For now, I'll show you how we're gonna determine our takeoff CG here. I'm gonna use data ref tool. This is not something you guys are gonna have to do. This is just something while we continue working on stuff. So that some things break sometimes, and that's how it is. All right, so our actual CG right now is 2057. So again, once I get with Thomas and we correct this little discrepancy, this will work. But check this out. This is how I can show you how our stuff is working. This is the actual physical aircraft CG right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put some weight back on this thing, and you'll see the CG is moving here. Okay, we'll put this back to 30. CG's 26. That's a bit heavy, so I'm gonna add some more weight to the front. All right, and I'll take some weight out the back. Still quite heavy. Yeah, I don't like a CG that far aft, so I'm going to keep working on this. Let's take out 10 passengers. Again, the reason that this is happening is I put in apparently some crappy load stations here, which is driving an aft CG, and that can be fixed. I just need to fix it. I like that. 23% works for me. All right, so it's 23%. Again, that's not something you guys are ever going to have to do. Thomas and I will work on the code here to fix this. Don't worry about this. But what I want to show you, which is a big, big improvement from our jet previously, is that when you use these payload and fuel now, it actually changes the aircraft CG. The reason why that's a big deal, I'm going to show you a picture right now. And this is causing a lot of issues for us previously. And I didn't realize what was going on until V1 Sim and Flight Deck to Sim flew our jet and were reporting heavy rotation. This is why. So before Thomas got in here and made his changes, this number here was absolutely bogus, right? So whatever you were loading in here was changing this CG number here, right? But in the sim, the actual aircraft flight model, the CGs were wildly different. In some cases, 7, 8, 9% off, which is absolutely horrible because what you're doing is you're setting your takeoff trim for this CG here, but the aircraft is actually this. So you could see how there would be huge discrepancies between what the EFB is telling you and what the aircraft actually has. And that's why a lot of those guys were experiencing heavy rotation, is the CG that was spitting out here was not what the aircraft had. I didn't even realize this was going on until we got into data ref tool and realized this. So that's why it's so big that we're working on this right now, and that this now actually moves the real aircraft CG, because it did not before. All right, what did I say it was? CG 23%, which is very good. So we'll put 23% in here. Flaps 5. So now when you see a trim of 5.56, that's what it actually should be. Okay, it's not some made up number that we're chasing. That's such a big deal to us. So you will get correct CGs out of here once we fix all that. Okay, I just want to show you that it's working. All right, so we got the CG in there. The trim is set 5.56. Okay, cool. IFR clearance. Let's call ground and get that.
Taxi via Bravo for 27, American 5252.
Limburg ground, good evening. Southwest 8264, request IFR clearance to Reno.
Southwest 8264, Limburg ground, hello. You're clear to the Reno International Airport by apologies to departure. Chapter transition then as filed. Climb via SID. Expect flight level 360, 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 100.6. Squawk 7746.
Southwest 8264 is cleared to Reno via the Project 2 departure. Chapter transition then is filed. Climb via SID. Departure on 19.6. Squawk 7746.
Southwest 8264, read back correct. Push and start at your own discretion. Call me when ready to taxi.
We'll call you for taxi 8264. Alright. TCAS is set. Radios 19.6 for departure. Okay, nav is set. Fuel quantity 15.7. Flight altitude 360. FMC is checked. Flight directors on left and right. Auto throttle is armed. MCP airspeed will be V2, which is 134. Alright, MCP heading will be runway heading 275. Altimeters, let's grab the weather real quick. Alright, current weather at San Diego. Wind 3105, 10 miles visibility, scattered at 18, broken 25,000. Temperature 22, altimeter 3007.
United 222, Limber ground, standby.
3007.
UPS 701, heavy, cross runway 27 of Bravo.
Okay, auto
4,
brakes.
Taxi to air cargo
RTO.
ramp via Charlie 4, Foxtrot.
APU.
Cross 27 up
Starting.
Bravo 4
And departure brief. Alright guys, we're at gate,
4 and Foxtrot again.
I think it's 106 at San Diego. We're going to be doing a flight up to Reno, Nevada in the LevelUp 737-700 with the updated flight model, and I'll explain more as we're flying.
222, Limber ground.
Estimated taxi plan is going to be a push to start, tail facing west. Taxi around the corner here.
222, Limber
We'll
ground.
pick up
Hello.
Bravo
Cleared
to
San
Charlie
Jose
1,
Airport by the
full length
Fox
departure off of runway 27 on the Padres 2 departure.
5 minutes to departure. Departure frequency 100.6.
Alright, climb on heading 275 to 520, then right turn direct Winfield, then on track 296 to Colonel, then track 296 across Gwynn at above 8,000, track 308 to Padres. Okay, we'll pass Los Angeles Airport, fly directly over it, and continue up past Shafter, all the way to Reno.
United 222, squawk 2052.
Okay, lower MFD is on engine, doors and windows are closed, yaw damper is on,
United 222,
electric and hydraulic pumps are on, fuel pumps are on, parking brake is set, APU gens, waiting on that.
Number 172, Juliet
Okay.
X-ray.
APU gens are on.
Hotel Charlie, altimeter 307.
Alright. Ground equipment. Beacon lights. Trim air is not installed. Engine bleeds are off. APU bleeds are on. Engine start. Ignition left. I'm flying. ACARS. Is tracking. Transponder on. Push to start.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up. Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Clear to connect.
Did Austin log off?
Yeah. American 5252, contact Limber Tower 118.3.
Contact Tower 118.3. See ya, have a great day.
You do? November 172, Juliet X-ray, contact Limber Tower 118.3.
1831, happy birthday to Juliet X-Ray. Yeah.
See you.
All right, guys, let's get ready to go here.
Labor ground, Southwest 123, ready for push on to Bravo. We have Quebec.
Southwest 123.
Ground to cockpit.
push on to
Please
Bravo,
show me where you want to go.
Roger, pushback approved on to Bravo facing east, Southwest 123.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
All right, before we start, I want you guys to be listening for some stuff here. Some of it we won't be able to hear because I fly from the front and I don't have views set up, but I have a list of the sound changes that we've got. So there's a flap pitch variation now in the cabin, which I don't have a view for it right now. But basically, as the flap motors are extending, the flaps are retracting, you'll hear like frequency changes of the flap, like the motor spinning up, spinning down. There's a full TCAS test, which I'm not going to do because it'll run forever. We have additional switches in the cockpit that didn't have sounds, have had their sounds put on. Okay, we've got the engine windmilling sound, air conditioning sound behavior. This is going to be really cool. When I turn on the packs, you're going to hear like a rushing airflow sound, which we didn't have before. It's really cool. Let's see. Adjusted cabin and engine sound mixing. So if you're in the cabin, which is a great place to be for takeoff on our jets because the sounds are so cool, there's been improvements to the sound mixing in there. All right, let's do it.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
All right, crew. Let's start engine number 2. Rotation on 2. So all kinds of changes, huh? You know what? We're going to get a hot start here. I have my fuel switches on. Watch this. For my last flight, I forgot to kill the fuel switches. So watch this. It's gonna spike. I'm gonna have to kill the fuel. Look at that. Yeah, this happens on the Zebo. If you leave the fuel switches on when you try to start the engines.
All right, we've got everyone strapped in. Give us a ring if you need anything.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let the starter slow down here. Let's try engine 1. See if that's gonna have a hot start. Okay, rotation on 1. I normally don't have my switches set like that, but I was flying and I just left the game earlier. All right, fuel on 1. Now let's watch for a hot start. Watch the EGT. Nope. Hot start. Okay. Well, let's try engine 2 again.
Operation complete. Set parking brake. Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All right, starting 1. Let's start 2 again. See if we can get the light. Okay, fuel on 2. Alright, ignition. Yeah, if you have your fuel switches in the wrong position before you start, you're gonna get a hot start. Alright, there we go. Starting 1.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the left. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
Alright, see ya. Alright, I think we got it sorted out now. It's how the Zebo mod plugin interprets a hot start and the fuel switches. I don't know if that's real world. I'm not entirely convinced, because just turning on fuel in the engine doesn't really do much if the fuel pump's not pumping it, right?
Ground United 1302, like to pick up right far to San Francisco.
United 1302, Limburg ground, hello. You're clear to the San Francisco International Airport.
All right, there we go. Good
Departure,
starts.
IG transition, then as filed.
All right.
Climb via SID, expect flight level 360.
All right, I'm gonna mute the radio real quick. Listen to when I turn the packs on, guys. Listen to the sound, how it increases here. Is that cool? That's really cool. And APU is off. Okay, after start checklist complete. Taxi checklist. Flaps up takeoff. Flaps 5. Stab trim. Alright, so when setting stab trim on our jet, you guys have to be very careful what your angle is, okay? You need to be looking at it directly from the top, or you're going to have a parallax and it's not going to be right. So we need 5.5. There we go. 5.56. There we go. Takeoff data was reviewed. Takeoff thrust setting is 89. Lower MFD. Flight controls check. Ailerons left. Ailerons right. Elevator up. Elevator down. Rudder left. Rudder right. Okay, flight controls are checked. Ground signal's good. Taxi lights.
After 5128.05, squawk 2062, Delta 420.
Delta 420, read back correct. Push into the ramp at your own discretion. Call me when ready to taxi.
Alright, we'll give you rings, yep.
And United at 1, United 220 order to taxi.
United 222, runway 27, taxi via Bravo.
Yeah, Bravo, photo sound, United 220.
Limburg ground, Southwest 8264, ready for taxi 27.
Southwest 8264, runway 27, taxi via Alpha 3, Bravo, hold short of Bravo and Alpha 3.
Okay, let me go over that. Okay, 27 via Alpha 3, and you want me to hold short of Bravo, hold short of Bravo and Alpha 3?
Southwest 8264, 8 firm, you're gonna go behind United coming up on Bravo.
Okay, we'll hold short, wait for that traffic, 8264.
Limburg ground, good evening. United 631 requesting PDC.
Yeah, 631, Limburg ground, I'll send you a PDC.
Hey.
Okay, nose wheel steering checks, brakes checked. Okay, taxi checklist complete. Look at that taxi light, guys. Isn't that great? Alright, we're going to hold short here at Alpha 3. For the United passing. Cabin ready. Alright guys, so while we got a moment here, one of the big problems with this jet that I never really resolved was that it was very, very heavy during rotation. It was worse than all the other
Southwest 8264, runway 27, taxi via Bravo behind United A319.
Just have via Bravo for that, behind the United Southwest 8264. The rotation was extremely heavy. It was the worst of all the variants.
123, contact Limber Tower at 118.3.
183, thank you, Southwest 123.
So I've been working on it for about
United 222, contact
2
Limber
days.
Tower 118.3. See ya.
So hopefully
193
it's working better. We'll see, guys. So this is a test flight, guys. So this is not the finished product here. This is a test flight of my flight model I've been working on for about 12 hours over the last couple of days. So I'm hoping it's fixed. We'll see. Well, I'm hoping it's better. Alright, let's see, lower MFD.
Southwest 8264, contact Limber Tower 118.3. Have a good one.
18.3 for 8264, so long. Alright, before takeoff checklist, recall is checked. Lower MFD. Is off. VNAV and LNAV is armed. I cast snow alerts. A Wixer. I'll put Wixer on this side and terrain on my side. And just start switches. And holding for lights. Hey, thanks, Mr. Anderson. Alright. I'm hoping the rotation is better, guys. I've been working so hard on this thing. I don't know. Flaps 5. So, hey, we do have a real-life 737 pilot on our team. He flies the NGs, and he told me that Flaps 1 takeoffs are going to have a heavier nose feel, like a heavier rotation. Okay, and Flaps 5 is going to feel a little easier to get off the ground. So that's
Southwest 123, contact SoCal departure 128.05.
that's what we're going here. Let's go for here.
1205, Southwest 123, see ya.
United 222, runway 27, line up and wait.
Runway 27, United 222.
So when you do a Flaps 1 takeoff on this jet,
7.
it'll still come off the ground, but it's going to take a little more elevator force to get it to come. And on a Flaps 5, we shouldn't have to pull back very hard at all. So one thing we can do to monitor that, guys, is we'll use data ref tool. So let's go elevator.
Southwest 220, correction, United 222, wind 310 at 5, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Takeoff to 7, United 222.
We're going to monitor how much elevator we use to get off the ground. Oh man, I'm glad. Hey, I'm so happy that we got another X-Plane guy out of you. Welcome aboard. Enjoy the amazing ride, man. This sim is the best. Thank you so much for joining us here at X-Plane. I don't work for them, but I feel an obligation to advance the cause of this sim.
United 222, contact SoCal departure 128.05.
I thought he was going to tell me a taxi.
205, this is 7, United 222.
Well, why don't you fly still, man? Yes, it is. This is the new exterior lighting, man.
Southwest 8264, Limber Tower, yeah.
Hey, firm.
Southwest 8264, runway 27, line up and wait.
Line up, wait, 27, 8264. Oh, I'm nervous, guys. I'm worried that this thing's gonna not rotate well tonight. Let's see.
On runway 27.
Southwest 8264, wind 310 at 5, runway 27, clear for takeoff.
Clip takeoff 27, Southwest 8264. Hey, clip takeoff clock.
San Diego Tower.
Started.
Delta 95.
Alright, guys, wish me luck.
On a 8-mile final, runway 27.
Delta
come on, baby.
95,
Come on,
Limber
baby.
Tower, hello, 1 traffic departs prior to your arrivals is starting its roll now, wind 310 at 5, runway 27, clear to
Alright, so
land.
takeoff thrust.
Clear to land, and we'll be looking
And
out
one,
for
toga.
departing traffic for Delta 9512.
Thrust set.
Knots.
Thrust hold.
V1 rotate.
Oh, yeah, baby.
How's it rate?
Oh, a little bit touchy there.
Gear up. 400.
Southwest 8264, contact SoCal departure 128.05, we'll see you.
2805 for Southwest 8264, so long.
1000.
American 3288, SoCal approach, LA altimeter 3006 altitude. Leaving hello with 260. 3288 at CVU.
I mean, it was easy to get off the ground, but a little too touchy once we were in the air.
Request hours 24 right. 3288, no problem. At CVU cleared ILS runway 24 right approach. CVU cleared ILS 24 right, American 3288. American 865 heavy, climate maintain 15,000, contact LA Center 126.52, good night. Climate maintain 15,000, LA Center 2650.
Flaps one.
Have a good one, American 865 heavy. 9398, contact LA Tower 12095, good night. Contact Tower 12095, United 9398.
Flaps up. SoCal departure, good evening, United. Correction, Southwest 8264 with you, claiming 3000.
Southwest 8264, SoCal departure, radar contact, climate maintain 15,000.
15,000, 8264.
Delta 95 heavy, turn left direct, clipper,
Okay,
resume the
clear to
15
15.
departure, climate maintain 15,000. Left.
Oh, yeah.
Left
There's a link to my Discord in the video description.
5 departure,
Come on over.
5,000, Delta 95.
Alright, so it came off the ground very easily, but it got a little too touchy once we were in the air, so I need to work on that a little bit. Okay, I don't need that anymore.
And unit 222 at Fort Chile Center is closing up. Runner service is terminated. Frequency change approved. Thank you, bye-bye. United, stop calling it up.
You're gonna love it even more after this next update. So, one thing that I like to do, which is not standard at all, is I like to disable this.
Southwest ADT 64, LA Center's closing operator services terminated. Frequency change approved. Good night.
Okay, over to advisory 8264 so long.
Delta 95 Heavy, LA Center's closing operator services terminated. Frequency.
I like to disable the speed trim system because it's really annoying, and I don't like the way that it's implemented by Zebo right now. And how you can do that is you go down here and you turn off the autopilot stab trim. Oh, speaking of which, I need to let me fly my plane here. You can turn off the autopilot stab trim, and it will turn off the speed trim system. But you remember, you got to turn it back on if you want to be able to turn on the autopilot. And I'll show you what I mean. So as we come to 10,000, watch when I try to engage autopilot. It doesn't go, right? But if I do this, now it goes. So that's just something that I do because the way the speed trim system works on this jet, I don't think it's correct. All it does is trim up and up and up and up and up, and that's it. It doesn't actually try to maintain a reference speed like it should. All right, after takeoff checklist, landing gears up, lights out, flaps are up, auto brakes off, engine start switches off. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Never mind. I hit the wrong switch again. There we go. Yep. And so the speed trim system is only really on below Mach 0.5 and when the autopilot is off, when you're climbing more or less after takeoff. And so what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to trim the aircraft to maintain a reference airspeed, and it'll trim the nose up or down as needed to maintain a certain pitch. It's almost like it's kind of like a control wheel steering, but not that gnarly. And it should help you with certain phases of flight, right? So that if I take my hand off the yoke, it doesn't start dropping or climbing. The speed trim system should hold that attitude to maintain that airspeed.
1,000 to go.
Oh. Anyway, yeah. The way that the Zebo speed trim system works, it just basically trims up and up and up and up and up, and you're constantly having to cancel it out with manual nose down trim. I don't like it. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. I can't control it because it's buried deep in the Zebo code. So I just turn it off because I don't need it. It doesn't add any value. It just makes more work for me. So I have a switch mapped to one of my joystick controls to turn off. Here, hold on. To turn off this switch here, right? The main electric is for your little pickle switches on the yoke. You don't want to turn this off. You just want to turn this off and turn it back on when you want the autopilot to work, because it needs this on to trim the aircraft for autopilot flight. Okay, altimeters, standard. Had to take out checklist complete. Oh, are you talking about the FlyJ Sim 200? 737-200? I haven't flown that plane yet. And this is the 700 tonight. You know, we've been having some issues with auto brakes on this jet as well. I don't think it's related. I think it's coincidental, but on the LevelUp, when the auto brakes are at like auto brakes 3 or max, it creates a very strong nose down tendency, and that's because the Zebo code has the auto brakes coming on immediately, like completely like spooled up right away. There's no delay, there's no ramp up. They just come on full bore, and it causes the nose to slam down hard if you don't catch it with the elevator. Sometimes you even can't do that. It's think of it like riding a bicycle and slamming on the front brakes and everything. You just fly over the handlebars. That's kind of what it's doing. And there's nothing we can do to fix that because it's buried in their code. We've asked them to change it and they don't. So we just have to try to use piloting techniques to, you know, deal with it. LAX directly below us, and we've got some other traffic out around us. Guys, coming up on 1,000 to go.
Thousand to go.
FMC speed, VNAV path. Okay, 239 miles to the top of descent. 542. So about 32 minutes. 32 minutes. Alright, let's go back in the cabin and see if we can hear anything cool back there. Ooh, I like that. I like that color. Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, we'll level off now at our cruising altitude. We're going to go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. I'd like to kindly ask if you are staying in your seats to keep those seatbelts comfortably fastened for your safety. Onboard computer showing an on-time arrival, no ATC delays either. We're going to stay quiet up here, have you enjoy the flight and the service. Once again, welcome aboard.
What a cool interior, right? So impressions on the rotation, it definitely came off the runway a lot easier, but once I was in the air, it felt a little too touchy. So I'm gonna need to figure out how to work on that. Oh, now it's just showing. It's cool. I don't know what I did to break it though. I think we got to move those load stations way forward. Hey, thanks for having us. Hey, I've said this many times before on other streams, but I mean this not just because you're here. I think the San Diego controllers are the best in SoCal. You guys are always friendly, always nice. You're usually well staffed in the evenings. I really like San Diego Airport, coming in and going out. So thank you for running it. Thanks for doing all that stuff, because I did sign up for LA RTCC some years ago. I attempted to become a air traffic controller there with you guys, and I just could not do it. I just don't have the brain power for it, man. I'm not smart enough. Those who can do, and those who can't fly. So it's way easier to fly these planes than it is to do the air traffic control stuff. So thank you for doing that, because this wouldn't be anything without you guys. Thanks. I'm just looking at something here. Please pass it on. Dude, I can't land this 777 to save my life, dude. I always have hard landings in that thing. I don't know why. So for those of you who are here, I gotta tell you, I spent the last 12 hours of my last couple days working on this plane. It has been such a nightmare. This one has always been difficult for me, but it's extra hard now. So basically, we had V1 simulations and flight deck to sim review our aircraft a few days ago on their streams. Got thousands of views. I was there for both of them to just add commentary. And both of them said, man, this plane seems very heavy to rotate. Like, it won't come off the ground unless I pull the stick all the way back. And I'm like, hey, I'll take a look into it, right? And what I uncovered was very disconcerting, to say the least. So I've already mentioned at the beginning of the stream, for those of you who are just now tuning in, this electronic flight bag here, right? Before today, with the updates that we've made, whenever you loaded in payload, it wouldn't move it around fore and aft on the jet. It was dumping it right onto this, basically the empty weight center of gravity. So the fuel, it would move around. So I had to relocate the fuel tanks to match what the EFB thought they were supposed to be at. But when you added payload, it would only drop it right here, not here or here. Okay? Yeah, man, I make the flight models for LevelUp. So what was happening was, this number prior to today was moving as if it was loading the aircraft fore and aft. But what was happening in the actual flight sim in the background was that the CG was not moving based on the payload, right? So if let's say the CG of the aircraft said 27, right? Okay. The guys that were streaming this would go into their FMC and set takeoff. Were setting their takeoff stuff. They were setting their takeoff CG based off a CG of 27, right? Because that's what this said. But when you go into the actual flight model, we can do that by typing this in. Watch. When you would go into this, these are data refs, right? This is the actual aircraft's flight model CG. So this would say 27 because that's what the EFE was saying, but this would say like 18. Okay, so they would set trim for a CG that was 9% off. So the aircraft would not come off the ground because there was insufficient trim. They didn't know that. I didn't know that. I assumed that these numbers here were feeding into the level up flight model the same as they do for the Zebo. Because on a Zebo, when you do this, it moves the CG on the aircraft too. Like, I checked it, it works. But our clapped out second-hand version that we get does not. And I found that out yesterday. And I was like, holy crap, no wonder we can't rotate. This is invalid. This is completely fake news. Like, this number here was fake. So I was doing everything I could to try to get this to match up, and I could not. Because there's a lot of coding that goes into this that I don't know how to do. So we have a guy on our team called Thomas, and he is a coding genius. He's incredible. And he has a very deep, fundamental understanding of how the Zebo plugin works and how all that stuff integrates with it. Okay? So he wrote me a bunch of code today to get this thing to talk to the plane. So when we set the payload and the fuel, this number here is what the aircraft CG actually is in the flight's model, not just on here on paper. Because prior to today, this was a fake number that was just on paper, but did not match with the aircraft. So you would set trim based off of this, and that's not what the aircraft had in it. So we're working on this. That's why it said yellow and it says check, and it didn't work right to start. But when I go in here to payload and I move these numbers around, it's actually writing to load stations that I put into the aircraft now, which, by the way, I need to fix because they're too far aft. It's actually loading the aircraft to those numbers. And that's huge because now I can get an accurate readout for what the aircraft CG actually is, and I can type in the correct CG here to get the correct trim setting here. Okay? So that's part of the problem. But hold on, I need to get some water. I got more to say. I'm not done. 1 second. Okay, so once I was able to get the CG to be correct on this aircraft, right? So I got the EFB to talk to the sim, and the sim, I didn't do it, Thomas did it. I didn't write the code, he did. He's a genius, I'm not. Once I was able to establish that the EFB is talking to the sim, and this number is correct, I was still having huge problems with the aircraft not wanting to rotate or needing a lot of elevator to get off the ground. And I tried so hard to try to fix it, but I was running into a lot of compromises, right? So I could get it to rotate, but then it would like pitch up for the moon, or the elevator would be too sensitive, right? I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and I was like, dude, I cannot make this work. So I was in there, and what I was doing was I was actually adding negative incidents to the horizontal stabilizer, basically preloading the stabilizer so that it was already giving you nose up trim even when it was at 5. Okay, so that helped a bit, but it still was not enough. So what I tried to do tonight was I was starting to think about this. I'm like, okay, I need this plane to rotate more. And how do you get a plane to fly, right? You need to give it more lift. But how do I give it more lift on the ground while it's rolling down the runway without messing up the flaps, without going into the airfoils and messing with those again? Because I don't want to just do an airfoil change for one jet. I want it to be for all of them, right? So I had a little epiphany tonight, and I decided to increase the angle of incidence of the wing itself. So basically I added positive incidence to the wing, which means the wing is essentially now rotated up a half degree more than it was before, which means it's already taking a bigger, it's already like trying to rotate on the ground. And so what that does is it gives more lift to the aircraft when you're at 0 AOA running down the runway. So the second you get some elevator in there, it's already got a little cushion of air that the wing is biting into, and you don't have to pull up as hard to generate enough lift to get it to come off the ground. So that's what I did tonight, and that's what seems to be helping this aircraft a lot now. So the adding additional angle of incidence to the wing has definitely improved the rotation. Now, some of the downsides to that is that when you increase the angle of incidence of the wing, it's basically the wing is flying more upright than before, which means the fuselage is going to point more down, because the wing, you don't need as much AOA, or pitch rather. The AOA doesn't really change, but you don't need as much deck angle to generate the same AOA as you did before, which means now I had to be careful that our cruise attitude is not too low. And also, and this is what we're going to test when we land tonight, that I mess with the approach pitch, because now we don't have to fly with as much of a pitch to generate the same AOA as before, because the wing is angled up more than it was before. So to compensate for that, I took some lift coefficient out of the flaps, and I just did a rough guesstimate. I don't know if I got it right. So what we're going to do tonight on our approach is we're going to really watch the approach pitch. What I'm looking for is about a 2.5 degree attitude when we're on speed, on glide slope, and fully configured. That's what that's for this aircraft. I want about 2.5 degrees. So we'll see what we get tonight, because I'm kind of shooting in the dark here. I don't really know what it's going to be. So there's some flat bottle talk, guys. There's some behind the scenes sausage making. Oh, but doesn't sound good. Behind the scenes, like how we do that kind of stuff. Hey, Nanny Ray, nice to see you. Hey yo. Alright, so one thing I'm happy to see is that the pitch attitude of cruise has not suffered tremendously, increasing the angle of incidence of the wing. So it's kind of more or less where I want it ish, kind of, sort of, maybe a little bit low. What's up, Mr. Hops? Alright guys, top of descent's coming up here in 115 miles in 10 minutes. So I'll be right back. I'm going to grab something from the galley, and then we'll brief the arrival into Reno. Hey, do I know how to fix the Sparky freighter not loading delivery? No idea, man. I don't fly that plane because it's not so great. So I have no. I flew it twice, and I haven't flown it since. So that's a pretty in the weeds question. You're gonna want to talk to the Sparky people about that one. They have a Discord server. They can probably help you. Alright guys, let's take a look at this. Set approach checklist, landing data. Alright, let me grab the current weight, 125. Landing data performance estimate. Let's try a 123. Okay, flaps 30. Okay. So approach speed 135, VREF 130. Auto brakes 2. Effective landing distance of 9,000 feet. Okay. 900 foot margin. So auto brakes 2. And then that's not right. First weight is 124.9. Cool. All right. Arrival. We are on the Tarver to Arnav arrival. Got some crossing restrictions here. So Tarver 250 at 14,000 is important. Spoon at 230 and 11. Transitioning onto the ILS 35 left approach. Straight in. So at PMA, we need to be at 10.8. Waggy 9.4, and then EPOS is 8,200. 1.5 mile visibility. Decision altitude 5062. Landing altitude is 4410. MSA is 12,000 from the FMG VOR, which is Mustang. This approach climb 11,000 heading 350 and outbound to FMG VOR radio 332 to Pyram and hold. Okay. And then final approach course is 347 with a 109.9 on the frequency for the ILS. 47. Okay. Decision altitude is 5062. At set, landing altitude is 4,400 feet. Seatbelt signs are on. Alright, current weather at Reno. Information echo. Wind 330 at 12, so more or less down the runway. 10 mile visibility. Scattered at 12. Temperature 22. Altimeter 3021. We preload that. Alright, cool. Top of descent, 61 miles, about 8 minutes. Auto ATC. I don't care about that. I set this down to 1,400.
Traffic.
What? Oh, shoot. Where'd that guy come from? Man, that's close, dude. Man, that was close. Dang business jet guys. Who is that guy? You guys are a menace. Oh yeah, all the time, man. The only reason I'm doing it tonight is I was busy today and I just wanted to get a flight in. And I figured since I'm going to be flying, you guys can check it out too. $10 miles and head down. I think I'm gonna use the HUD for the approach, not so much because I need it, but because I want to be able to see the I want to see the actual approach pitch a lot better. It's easier to visualize it with this as opposed to this, right? So essentially what I would want is I would want this wing to sit right on this little white bar here. It's 2.5 degrees. That this is the 5 degree. I basically want to put this bar right here in the middle. This is the horizon. Alright guys, throttles to idle, head down. Some pretty nice looking VNAV descent tables right now, huh? That's cool, dude. How, if I may ask, how much did you get it for? Because you can buy them on Amazon for like $250 or something like that. How much was your bid? I hope and I hope you didn't get a used one. I really hope you didn't get a used one because they do not age well at all. That's about, I think that's what they're going for on Amazon, right? Something like that. Let's see. Oh wow, 300. Okay, oh, you got a good deal then. And that's shipping included? Dang, I can't believe these things are 300 now. On and off. The potentiometers are garbage in them. That's the issue. Like, my throttles don't advance together. Let me show you what I mean. Like, watch these two carrots here. I'm gonna move the throttles together. Watch them. They're just off a little bit. Like, see how they don't move together? Do people still do auctions on, yeah, I got mine for $250. Do people still do auctions on eBay? I thought everything was just like buy it now. I thought eBay didn't even do auctions anymore. I'm surprised that they were doing that. eBay ain't what it used to be. Oh, his name is WolfAir. WolfAir. He's amazing. This guy has WolfAir 737. Really, really good. I think he's friends with Boris too, from the guy that does the stuff, the PMDG sounds and all that. But I've had a chance to work with him now on the team, and he's put in a few of my suggestions, which were really cool, like the windmilling sound and a couple other things. I really appreciate him listening to that. No, we're not gonna do that. Well, he's lucky. This is my second one. I got the other one sitting over here on the floor. I use it for spare parts. I'm pretty good at fixing them mechanically, but what went wrong with mine was the potentiometers just went so out of rig that I couldn't adjust them anymore. I'm gonna put a little bit of speed brake in here. Slow us down. Oh, do not get the Pro Desk Sim ones. They're awful. Don't get those. Get the Flight Sim Factory ones. I don't recommend Pro Desk Sim. Flight Sim Factory makes a better quality product. That's what I'm using right now is Flight Sim Factory stuff. All this is Flight Sim Factory. Yeah, Jesse, I had to take it into work and have a friend help me fix those wires. We had to rewire one of my throttles because the wires broke inside. Alright, altimeters. Alright, 3022. Alright, getting a little bit high here.
Altimeter setting. Altimeter setting.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks. I see the airport way out there. Okay, tuning in to CTAP now.
Random traffic southwest 4011, departing runway 35 left, IFR to the east Reno.
Okay, about 500 feet high. Correcting. Yep. Yeah, but if you're living outside the country and something breaks, it's going to be hard to fix it, right?
Thousand go. I think I see the runways way out there. Alright, so the runway, the field elevation is 4,400 feet, so we're almost essentially like under 10,000 feet right now, if you think about it.
Reno traffic southwest 4811, clear of the area. Have a good night.
Yep, I know what you're saying, man. But the Bravo gives you all 4 of those engines if you need them. If you want to deal with that. Okay, there's a decel point. I'm going to go ahead and put flaps 1 out for some drag here. Engine start switches. Continuous. Okay, we're slowing down nicely here. Let's get the lights on. It's so nice not having all the lights light up the cockpit up from the side. Alright, I'm gonna go localizer, captured, autopilot. I'm sorry, correction, approach mode. Okay, localizer, capture. Let's go speed 170, flaps 5. Alright, before landing checklist, let's see, recall is checked. Brakes armed. Alright, so this is going to be kind of an important flight test here, guys. I'm testing the approach pitch. I want about 2.5 degrees because remember I changed the angle of incidence of the wing and I reduced the flap lift coefficient, but I don't know if I've done it enough, so we'll find out here in just a second. Alright, let's go 160, flaps 15. Gear down for drag. Alright, I'm gonna start reducing the final approach speed, which is gonna be 135. 2500. Flaps 25. Alright, looking for 2.5 degrees. I don't think we're gonna get it, but we'll see. Flaps 30. Landing checklist, landing gear down, spoilers armed, recall, checked, auto brakes 2, flaps 30, missed approach altitude set, clear land. Traffic, Southwest 62, 84 on the ILS 35 left approach. Definitely not getting that. Alright, autopilot's coming off. That's not too far off. Yeah, I gotta take some more lift out of these flaps.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Nope, we're good. Continue. It's terrain. I gotta take a lot of lift out of these flaps. I think the high altitude here is making things a little bit different too. A little bit of wind from the left, correcting. Trim looks good. A little more drag on the flaps needed.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Approaching.
Continue.
3-5 left.
A little bit of sink there, correcting.
400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Ooh, did I touch down or not? Ha! Aircraft didn't even know if I was on the ground or not. I'm not even gonna make a call. We're close enough. The aircraft didn't know if I was down or not. All right. Let's see, Wixer. me run this checklist here. Okay, landing lights, strobes, engine start switches, clock, step trim. I like the step trim setting on landing, it was good. Okay, alright, after landing checklist complete. Overshot that a little bit, correcting back. Alright, parking checklist. AP gens. Fuel. Okay, trim air, packs. Window heat, probe heat, fuel pumps, hydraulic pumps, wool chocks, light, ground power, APU. Alright guys. Thanks Danny Ray. We'll see you later. 4 bounces? Ah, come on. Four 81 feet to the left? Whatever. That's not where I landed. Get out of here. Look at this. .7 feet off the center line. Alright, let's go back and watch this. I'll log off of BatSim here. I want to see this landing. Okay, let's go back to replay. Let's see what this looked like. Oh, I forgot to turn the lights on. Sorry, guys. I don't know if I can do it now. Yeah, it's like a replay bug. If you don't turn the lights on before the replay, then you're not going to see them. That's okay.
All right, last one. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, no, not bad. Gotta do some work on the flap stuff, but it's getting better, guys. This is a work in progress still, but I'm happy with where we're at with it. I'll keep working on it. I'm gonna go to bed. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Update out as soon as we're done.